in advance of Dan Le Batard joining this program, he got Tua, sat down, and the Tua soundbite. I mean, he asked, when you ask the right question and get the $1 million answer like that. I said it was $1 million question. You got $1 billion answer, right? Of Tua basically talking about the difference between Brian Flores and Mike McDaniel, and he said basically that Flores, to paraphrase here, made his life miserable. Called him a terrible person. He said, "What happens when a terrible person is telling you you're awful at this, you're crappy at this, or whatever, and somebody else comes in and says you're special? That's a big difference maker." Absolutely. So Brian Flores, now the DC in Minnesota. I don't know how many press conferences he holds, right? A lot of coordinators don't hold a lot of press conferences, but maybe this is something that was scheduled or not. But you bet he addressed this. This is what he had to say on Tuesday about Tua's comments.
Specific to the comments that were made by Tua, I just want to say, look, I'm happy, genuinely happy, genuinely happy for the success that Tua's had, and I really wish him nothing but the best. And I think player relationships are very important to me. I think that's kind of the foundation of coaching. I mean, I got into coaching because I was impacted as a young guy by my high school coaches, my college coaches, going all the way to Pop Warner. I got into coaching because I want to make that same kind of impact, positive impact, pour into young people, help them become, as KO says all the time, the best versions of themselves. And that's really my goal always in coaching.
So that was his opening soliloquy. Then the follow-up question from a member of the media about how did the terrible person comment hit you?
The words you used were terrible person. I'm just curious how that hit you when you saw it.
Look, I'm human, so that hit me in a way that I wouldn't say it was positive for me, but at the same time I've got to use that and say, hey, how can I grow from that? How can I be better? And that's really where I'm at from that standpoint. Do I feel like that's me? No, but how can I grow from that situation and create a world where that's not the case that anyone says that about Brian Flores?
So by the way, there would have been the first soundbite of saying, am I a terrible person? Absolutely. I don't know. That'd have been a first. Listen, just and we'll ask Dan this when he joins us after the break we're about to take. Did Flores not want Tua at all? I mean,
it kind of always felt that way, right?
Maybe he wanted Herbert.
We was shuffling in Ryan Fitzpatrick too during those years, also in and out of the lineup.
I don't know. Yeah. Because, and again, this is why if I'm an owner in the NFL, and I say this with the ultimate of due respect to folks like, Mike McDonald, who I'm very fond of from his 1 year in Michigan, up there in Seattle, or for instance, D'Amico Ryans, and also, Robert Saleh, just to name three, Jonathan Gannon, defensive minded. If I am an owner in the NFL, my head coach is going to be connected to the quarterback. Period. End of story. That's it. Because I don't know how many quarterbacks Brian Flores has ever had to manage in his career, in his entire time. How many has he ever had to manage? And then you have to manage personalities as well. So it's that simple. I know I'm just all making it a cookie cutter situation. Things are different. People's personalities are different. Yeah. Coaching styles are different. Flores comes from the Belichick tree. I told that story about Mac Jones telling me last year in a production meeting before he had truly the start that I think ripped up their entire relationship in New England. That was the last straw, that performance against the Colts.
Yeah.
He was talking about how Tua told him, about his relationship with Mike McDaniel, and he's just like, would I want to have a coach sit down next to me and throw his arm around me and, go to dinner together? Of course I would. Flores comes from that coaching tree where they don't do that. Tua needed it. I'm telling you, man, if I'm owning a team in the NFL, I'm finding a quarterback-minded coach and say, you're my guy. And if I already have the kid, I'm like, tell me how you're going to work with him. Or if you're about to draft a kid, saying, let's talk about who we're drafting. And I say that about even with Raheem Morris, who everyone loves too. We'll see how Harbaugh does with our neighbor across the street, Herbert, for instance, this year. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.